I grew up in a big city, where crowds blur together along wide boulevards, where rush and noise are not just the state, but a way of living. I was raised to think that a metropolis is about a scale, about prioritizing the new over the old, about public being loud and the personal being hidden. So, when I first arrived in London, its fast pace, cultural layering, and tangled truths didn't surprise me. What did surprise me was something else. This city doesn't try to be ultimate, finished version of itself. It doesn't cover its scars or erase its memory. It leaves traces of past lives, of old mistakes, of time itself. It creates something that can be called an aura. So wherever you stand here, you're never quite sure. Is this the end of a journey or the start of another? Are you inside or outside something? Everything is always in between. People are constantly shifting between timelines, histories and languages, between their phone screens and the pavement, between existential thoughts and daily trivialities. A person here can worry about AI replacing humans while mentally listing groceries for tonight's meal. This blurry coexistence became visible for me at a strange collision point between the urgency of the Paddington station, the healing work of St. Mary's Hospital, and the silent flow of the Paddington Canal. Right there, between these three different rhythms, stands an old warehouse, which I began to see as a kind of non-place. It lets the city pass through it, welcoming crowds of completely different people, and yet remains paradoxically invisible. That dissonance struck me. How can a place surrounded by so many layers fail to reflect any of them? I wanted to fix that, to turn it into something meaningful, not just physically but architecturally. But nothing seemed to fit. I kept thinking about transition, about the idea of movement through space and because of space. I looked into various spatial systems, researched public thresholds, architectural precedents, but this site refused all of them. Its complexity rejected these functions. I realized eventually that the only way to intervene was not to decorate the outside, but to shift what's hidden inside. Not to add something to the surface, but to redirect pressure that was already there, quiet and unnoticed. Because although the place appears to function smoothly, I sensed it was holding a kind of tension. That tension came from the hospital, from what overflowed beyond its walls. This warehouse, I thought, could become a valve, a place for releasing a double kind of overload, a material one and a mental one. Medical waste is recycled on site and 3D printed into modular structures for sensory and cognitive relief. From what is discarded, architecture produces what is essential. I was doubting this concept many times, but the more I questioned it, the more I saw it as a system, not just a structure, but a strategy, where form follows process, not just merely function, to support continuous movement, quiet transformation, and new forms of coexistence. I've never been interested in designing isolated objects. What drives me is built-in environments where people and processes can live together. I believe that not everything needs a clear beginning or end. That uncertainty isn't something to erase, but something to work with. As a society, we have the right, even the responsibility, to transform chaos into something meaningful, into a form of design that holds space for change.